You're listening to the Adventurous Reinvention podcast. I'm Allison Boyle, aka She Dreams of Alpine, and this is the show that's dedicated to all the adventurous spirits out there who have either been transformed by the outdoors or are interested in what it looks like to step into a new, adventurous, and courageous kind of identity in their life. It doesn't matter what your background is in the outdoors, what age you're starting at, or where you grew up. If you're curious about the outdoors and using adventure as a way to reinvent yourself, you're in the right place. I'll be sharing all kinds of personal adventure stories, lessons I've learned from the mountains, teaching what I know about the outdoors and leadership, and interviewing some amazing adventurous women all along the way. I've been coaching women on becoming safe, confident, and self-sufficient backpackers and leaders of their own adventurous lives since 2018, and I know exactly what big fears and self-doubts can pop up along the way. I have so much to share with you, so let's dive in. All right. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Adventurous Reinvention podcast. Y'all, it has been so busy over here. I don't know how it's been for y'all. I'm sure you're all feeling it too, but the holiday season has literally just been flying by for me. Like, I cannot believe we're almost at Christmas already. And yeah, I've just been grappling with time and how fast time moves lately. But I think naturally, this time of the year, I start to think about the new year, as many of us do. We're closing out our current year. We're stepping into the new year. I'm thinking about some new goals, where I want my focus to be, as well as reflecting on the past year. I think that's important too, because we can learn a lot about what we enjoyed and didn't enjoy in this past year. So I've been doing a little bit of both in December. That's like a big time I start doing some of that. But one of the ways I like to do that is I actually start like a little notes tab on my phone. And I just start collecting ideas, because I go on walks every morning with my dog, and I'm like, taking in other people's reflections. I'm thinking about my year. And as little things comes up and little ideas come up, I just start writing them in my notes app. I'm like, oh, I'd like to bring more of that into 2026, or I'd like to do less of that in 2026. And I'm just creating an ideas list. And it's not like a finalized list of any means. It's more just like inspiration that comes up along the way, and then I sort through it later. And I'm just like a big goal setter kind of gal in general. I know not everyone is, but I do think at least having a few goals, whether that's like adventure focused or whatever area of life that you feel most inspired by, I just think for me and for most people that I know, it gives you focus, and gives you the motivation to show up and grow, which I think is a really important part about being human, is stretching ourselves and growing and feeling alive and all of those things. So for me, I like to set big goals. I've really embraced that. I used to in the past tried to like be more realistic or just lower the expectations. But I think that came from this fear of, being worried that I wouldn't hit them. And now that's not something I think about. Like, I like to set big goals, whether I hit them or not, because I just know that who I become in the pursuit of those goals often takes me places and puts me in the way of meeting new people and puts me into new experiences in ways that I never would if I had set the bar too low. And you can kind of listen to, I have an episode where I kind of dig into this a little bit more. I think it was recently. I think I did it back in August. I should have posted it in my notes here of what episode that was. But I talked about one of my climbing goals. So if you look back and look at Big Climbing Goal, I think is the title of the episode. I dig into why I like to set big goals, because I have recently set a really big, audacious climbing goal for myself. And it's been incredible what has come out of it. And I still haven't reached it. And that almost doesn't matter at all. And at the same time, I still feel like very excited about the big goal. So anyways, that was a long-winded way of saying that I'm a big goal setter. I like to set my sights high. And I think that it grows me in ways that I could never expect. But one kind of like unconventional thing that I do, which feel free to borrow this if it feels right for you, is that I don't actually finalize my goals until usually the end of January. I kind of like January to be a bridge month. So that's a term I heard somebody say a long time ago, and I've really adopted it because I used to be really stressed. And it would be the end of December, and December is just so crazy. And you'd be like, oh, I have to have everything finalized by January 1st. This is where my type A can get to me sometimes, is like I can be really rigid with myself sometimes. So I have to find ways that work well for me to take some of that pressure and rigidness off of myself, because it doesn't matter. We're making all of this stuff up, y'all. It's really for our own growth and our own benefit. And so I like to see January as a bridge month. It allows me to take all those brainstorms that I had in December and then spend the whole month of January really honing on what feels the most important to me. Just get really clear on what I want without feeling like it needs to be tied to January 1st. So I do that. Also, January is just also a busy month for us here at She Dreams of Alpine, in particular, my business, because we host a very big event in the new year called the Your Adventure Area Challenge, which I'm going to share more on that soon. But yeah, I just like January to be a bridge month. It takes the pressure off, and that is one of my favorite new rules that I gave myself to just ease into it, and give myself the whole month and a lot of spaciousness to really settle into what I want to shape the year into. So that's what I do. Now, if you're also like me, or you want to be setting some goals, or you're just thinking about 2026 already, or maybe you're just hoping that next year feels a little bit different than last year, or this year, I guess we're technically here, but you're hoping that 2026 feels different than 2025. I want to offer you something a little unexpected, maybe, because most of the goals that I think we're taught when we're growing up are to set goals around being more productive or more optimized or more efficient. And I have kind of leaned away from that a little bit more as I've gotten older. And I want to consider and ask maybe here, what if 2026 isn't asking that of you either? What if 2026 is asking you to create more opportunities for depth and more opportunities for more presence and more experiences that actually change you and shape you and help you have an incredible year? And I know that something that's been coming up a lot for me in the themes of what I've been writing in my notes app on what I want to create in 2026 is this just keeps coming up for me. It's I just want 2026 to feel really full of life. And for me, that means rich in experiences, rich in growth opportunities, doing things that stretch me outside of my current limitations and boundaries. So for example, that, climbing goal that I have, I want to continue trying to achieve that in 2026. And that is going to require me to stretch into some new things that I have not done before, and really put myself out there and really try hard, and really train and really show up for myself in that way. So those are the things. But for me, that also puts me in the way of getting outdoors more and going on more trips. I've already been thinking about. So the goal that I have is to lead a 512 outside, which is harder than anything I've ever led before outside. And it's going to require me to find a project and go to it repeatedly, but go outside a lot more. And I've already been thinking about trips that I want to do that are outside that might take me to some interesting climbs. And I just know so many things are going to come out of it, because I already have, because I set this goal back in August, that I can't even expect right now. So I love setting a big goal because it's going to be stretching me in all kinds of ways, and there's just so many fun surprises that come out of it. So that's why I want to talk about today why backpacking might be, this is the title of this episode, but why it might be one of the most important goals that you could put on your list next year. whether you've ever considered yourself outdoorsy or not. And if you're one of my existing clients or you already enjoy backpacking, then you're probably like me in many ways. And each year you're kind of recommitting to this joy and this lifestyle and getting outdoors, this practice of being more present and having more real experiences that grow you as well. So if that's you, then this episode still definitely applies and will get you re-excited to recommit to all of those things. So I wrote up a list of 5 core reasons that, in my opinion, make backpacking maybe one of the most important goals that you set for 2026. So we're going to dive right into that right now. So reason number 1 is, it might be one of the most obvious reasons, but it's also one of the most underestimated, is backpacking gives you access to a bigger world to explore. It gives you access to quieter places. It gives you access to deeper wilderness areas. Like, if you've ever fallen in love with a place, like maybe you are a day hiker and you're hiking in this one area all the time and you just want to explore it more and more and more, like, this backpacking allows you to do that. That's definitely been me with the Eastern Sierras in California. So I lived in California for 7 years, and it's where I first got into backpacking, and it's where I primarily went backpacking when I lived out there. But now, even though I don't live there anymore and I haven't in a while, like my husband and I traveled for 3 years and we've been living in Colorado for about 3 years now, I still just crave to go back to the Eastern Sierras all the time and explore the areas I've never been, because each time I go, I get to discover something new, or even if it's a trail that I've been on before, like I get to see it in a new way each backpacking trip that I do. That's a really fun part about, we host a program called the Adventurous Reinvention Experience in the summer. It's I'll link it in the show notes if you want to learn more, but it's kind of like a coaching experience mixed with a backpacking retreat. And we do a lot of our trips, or most of our trips have been done out there so far. And I get to keep going back and I get to keep exploring new places, and I get to take clients to some of my favorite places. So for me, backpacking, it allows me to just really get to know a place, which is one of my favorite things. And I also think the deeper that you go into the backcountry, or the more days you get to spend out there, you also get to access like versions of yourself that you can't reach just on a day hike. So in backpacking, you settle in, you truly get to unplug, you get to really focus in on your most basic needs, and you get to learn a lot about yourself. And so if you've been a day hiker, somebody who already loves being outside, but you've ever thought like, I want to go deeper, I want fewer people, I want to see places some people will never see before, or even you're just saying, I want to see what I'm capable of, and I want to like push myself to do more, and I want to do multiple nights, backpacking can be the key that unlocks that door. Some of the most jaw-dropping places that I've ever been are places that you just simply cannot reach on a day hike. And maybe more importantly, some of the biggest transformations that I've ever had personally happened from going deep into the backcountry for several days. Kind of like, I just recently went on a trip with a couple of friends into the Grand Canyon, and I remember it was like such a busy time for me, and I was feeling a little bit stressed. I was like, I probably shouldn't go on this backpacking trip. I just have so much to do. But as soon as I dropped into the canyon with my friends and we got deep into the backcountry, like none of that became important. And it reminded me, a lesson that I'm learning again, and always relearning every time I go into the backcountry, is just the importance of slowing down, and how like a lot of times our brain is thinking that certain things in our life are super important. They really just are not. And it's really, really important to slow your brain down and get out of that like anxiety driven panic mode that we tend to be in the real world, quote unquote real world, when we're, have so many things on our plate. So that is, for me, a big transformation. I came back from that trip. I was so much more calm, and it just led me into having a great season. Even though we were very busy still, I just was able to take the calmness I got from the Grand Canyon and bring it back into my life. So that is reason number 1, unlocking access to a bigger world. Now, reason number 2 is we're living in a moment where AI, artificial intelligence seems to be like it's taking over everything lately. And I feel like, I don't know if you guys feel like this, but I feel like I can't even go online. Like if you go on social media, I feel like I can't go online anymore without questioning whether a video I'm watching is real or not. Like I showed something to my husband the other day and I was like, oh, look at this. This is crazy. And he was like, I think that's AI. And I was like, what? Why? I don't want to watch fake videos. It was like something of a dog and I thought it was really cute, but then I was disappointed because it wasn't real. And I just wish they would say it's not real because that would make me feel better, but I felt tricked. And it's just becoming more and more like part of our new world. And I try not to be like overly bitter or doomsday about that, but it's like a reality, right? Whether we like it or not, this is something that's becoming more integrated into everything that we're doing. But at the end of the day, like I take a whole lot of comfort in knowing that there are things that AI will never be able to replace or create for me or you. So it cannot give you real exhilarating adventure. It cannot give you true confidence and self-trust. It cannot give you embodied memories that you get to create for yourself. It cannot give you connection that is forged through an actual real shared challenge. Like backpacking creates experiences that are really and truly lived. They are not simulated. Like you are not doing this as a video game. You're doing this in real life with your own body, with your own mind, all of the things. There are no shortcuts or easy buttons on the trail. And y'all, this is such a good thing. Like we do not want shortcuts and easy buttons. We need to be challenged in order to grow. We need to use our brains in creative ways, and we need to move our bodies to be healthy. And with backpacking, there is no chat, to do the work for you. You walk every mile, you carry what you need, you deal with everything that is real and it is in front of you. You are forced to slow down and think through things. You're forced to like work through your anxieties and fears and self-doubts. And in 2026, I think that matters more than ever as we enter this kind of new age. And backpacking, while it's always been kind of an escape for people, like I think that is becoming even more important as our world is constantly creating ways in which we do less and are overly optimized. And y'all, we need friction in our life in order to grow and to feel fulfilled. We need challenges to grow. We need friction and challenges and hard things to make us feel alive, to make us feel like we're contributing in meaningful ways. These are really important things that I think are really underestimated and not thought about. When we think about ways to make our lives easier, we're actually taking away something that is like truly human and makes us feel like human and alive and like we want to be here and contribute. So backpacking in 2026 is kind of like a quiet little rebellion against a life that is being overly optimized and underlived. So I'm here to make sure that my year feels like it's more full of life than ever. I refuse to give in to the lie that when we make things easier, we become happier, because I don't think that's true. I think we just become a little bit more numb and we wonder why. And I think backpacking is one of the tools we can use to remind us like who the fuck we are and why we're here and how strong we are and how capable we are. And that way we can really step into like doing things that light us up and all of that. So that is reason number 2. Now, reason number 3, and this one is more personal and something I talk about a lot, actually. So if you've been a podcast listener for a while, you've probably heard me mention this in many ways. But if you're tired of seeing yourself the same way you've always have, if you are ready to shake up an old identity, then backpacking is absolutely one of the best ways to reinvent yourself, in my opinion. And it will stretch you in some of the most amazing kind of ways. Backpacking can help you rewire your relationship with fear and self-doubt. It helps you build self-trust, which is like self-trust, I know sounds like such a fluffy word, but it's so important. So many people don't know how to like make decisions in the face of, discomfort or challenge or high stakes scenarios or anything. And self-trust is really that piece where you're like, you can have calm confidence in yourself. Like something comes up and you know and trust that you can handle it no matter what. Like it's a very, very important skill in life and on the trail. And backpacking teaches you how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable without panicking. And for me, if you've ever listened to my story, actually I did a whole podcast episode about it recently. I think that was episode 73 called Adventures That Made Me, my very first backpacking trip, Half Dome in Yosemite. That trip was back in 2013. But I remember, like, it's very vivid to me, and that's why I tell this story a lot. But backpacking showed me a whole different side of myself, and it helped me get out of where I was at the time, which was recently divorced, and I was drinking all the time. I was feeling really numb to my life. I wasn't enjoying what I was doing. And it was kind of this toxic cycle. And I found myself stuck in it for a few years. And backpacking pulled me out of that. And it made me feel more alive than ever. And I really liked the version of me that went backpacking. And especially after that very first hike, I was like, who is this girl? Like, I didn't even know I could do these things. Like, I wasn't outdoorsy before I went on that very first trip in 2013. But I liked her. I was like, this version of myself that does hard things, I wanted to know her more. And I went all in after that moment, and I've never regretted looking back. I've never regretted that choice, and I've like never looked back. So adventure is now like not only an identity for me, but it's also a core value that I like operate my life from. So when I make decisions, I am always filtering it under this like core value of adventurous living, which means a lot of things to me, but a few of the things that it means is like doing it scared, like not making fear mean something like that you shouldn't do it, right? So there's a lot of moments that I will do it scared, listening to my gut and my heart, taking risks and leaps of faith towards the things that I really want, doing hard things, just period, doing hard things, being courageous, growing, and being really strong, like physically and mentally and emotionally strong as well. Like that's been a big part of my growth since 2013 is learning emotional resilience and really like emotional regulation, which is very important outdoors as much as it is in your day-to-day life. And the best part of all of this is that when you step into an adventurous identity out on the trail and through backpacking, you get to take all of the things that you're learning from there and apply it to your life. So I actually have a tattoo on my arm that says, on life and mountains, it is the same. And I take so many of the lessons that I learned from the mountains. I've shared a lot on this podcast, but I take them back into my life. And backpacking is the reason. Like I've done so much more than I've ever imagined in my life. Like my husband and I traveled for 3 years with our dog and our van. We also lived in Puerto Rico for a while. I built my own business and quit my engineering job. And even just having so much more fun and life experiences, like so much of my travel, like, you know, a big thing that was always important to my husband and I was traveling. We loved to travel, but so much of our travel since I got into the outdoors has been adventure focused, and that has just made travel even more fun. It's like I love going to a place where you have like an adventure that is part of the travel experience. And it has taught me how to handle hard things, embrace discomfort and risk, and also how to unplug and relax. Like it takes me about 2 seconds to drop into offline mode whenever I hit the trail. And it's like so good for your mental health. So there's so many reasons that, you know, stepping into this as a new identity and reinventing yourself through this modality of backpacking can be a really powerful reinvention tool. Okay, reason number 4. So reason number 4, it kind of has showed up in themes of reason number 2. So there's a little bit of overlap here, but I do feel like it deserved its own bullet point specifically. But backpacking literally helps you to wake back up, like to pull you out of your funk, to get you out of autopilot mode. And if you're feeling numb, like to really help you feel more alive. It forces you to recognize how capable you are and how alive you are, And that is really, really a beautiful thing. So backpacking pulls you out of your head. It drops you back into your body. You are forced to have no notifications, no constant inputs. You just have like simple rhythms and simple needs. And I cannot underestimate like how powerful just having simple focuses can be for your nervous system and all of those things. So you're like going for your walk, you're eating, you're drinking water, you're setting up camp, you're making sure you get some sleep, right? And that is when all of your senses can start to come back online again, and you start to remember what it's like to just be, to like just exist, right? You get to like notice the sunlight and the sunsets and the stars, right? You are more attuned to the weather. You're more attuned to your body and your breath and your mind and your thoughts. You just start noticing everything, and that is such a beautiful thing. I sometimes get asked, like, when people are thinking about backpacking, especially if they're going solo, they'll ask me like, what do I do to entertain myself when I'm on a backpacking trip? If I get to camp early and it's still light out, and, I give them, advice. Like I often bring a book with me. That's something I like to do. You could paint, or you could, do whatever you want or you like to do. But it's kind of funny. Like, it's not really a concern for me in general. I just really enjoy being bored. Sometimes it's that kind of sweetness of doing absolutely nothing and nothing needing to be done. For me, it's like the best. I love that experience. I remember on my backpacking trip with my friend Meg on the Royal Arch Loop, we woke up at one of our mornings, like we had to wake up really early because it was going to be very hot that day. So we woke up at like 3 a.m. and we wanted to get about 9 miles in. But we had a 12-mile day total. So we woke up early, we did 9 miles, and then we found a rock to hide under because midday was going to be too brutally hot to hike in because there's not that much shade along the trail. So we found a good rock to hide under in the shade, and we knew we were going to be there. When we got there, we were like, okay, we probably have to hang out here for like 5 hours. But I remember we look back on that experience, and at first we were like, wow, I wonder if this is going to feel like the slowest 5 hours ever. But it was the best. Like, we took naps. I remember being under that rock, and we were like laughing about how luxurious it felt to literally just have 5 full hours where your only job was just to be there, like stay out of the sun, like be cool, like drink water, take a nap. Like, that was it. Like, nobody needed anything from us. We could just be there. We could stretch. We both brought books and we thought about reading, but neither of us did any of that. Like, we literally just napped and laid like lizards on the cool rock. And it was just pure boredom, but like in the best kind of way. So I want to encourage you, if you're ever nervous about feeling bored, about going outside and feeling bored, embrace that a little bit. Like, see it as like maybe your curriculum to get comfortable with doing nothing, because I promise you it's really can be quite an amazing experience to just like embrace having nothing to do and just surrender to being and noticing things and not having to like busy yourself with stuff. So for so many women that I work with, like high achievers or women who have spent the majority of their life doing things for everyone else, this is the thing that they're craving. And I think it's very important to listen to those needs, and backpacking slows you down and it wakes you up and helps you feel more alive and present. All right. And reason number 5, our final reason, I truly believe that backpacking is foundational to everything else in the outdoors. So when you build self-sufficiency, and that's a word I use a lot, becoming self-sufficient. So when you build self-sufficiency in your navigation skills and your systems and owning your own safety and feeling truly confident in your skills, knowing how to make pivots, knowing how to manage your nervous system, that is when your adventure world really opens up. And backpacking can lead you to so many other kinds of adventures and kind of like unlock those doors. It can lead you to solo backpacking. It can lead you to through hiking. So like doing a bigger through hike. I have so many clients who have dreams of doing like the Appalachian Trail or the PCT or the JMT or any of those big through hikes, right? You know, being self-sufficient in your shorter backpacking trips is going to help you unlock the confidence to do bigger and bigger trips. Also, it can lead you into mountaineering. It can lead you into rock climbing or even to canyoneering. There's so many avenues you can kind of take this foundational backpacking skill and stack it into. It's the thing that can help you start stacking your skills. But you absolutely need that foundation in backpacking because it plays into everything else, especially if you want to do any kind of trip that involves an overnight. But for example, like I've met so many people who, let's just say, like I've met so many people who are like day hikers or climbers, and they don't have this foundational skill sets like in backpacking, and they've done themselves a disservice in some ways because they aren't putting into practice like feeling confident in navigation and doing best practices with safety plans and trip plans. And it can become high consequence because any kind of adventure that you do in the outdoor, you need those foundational skill sets. So we need to combine those skills and we need to stack them into other things. And I remember for me, as I started backpacking more, I really got into rock climbing and mountaineering around the same time. And I didn't realize how important having all of those skills were going to be for me, and like having that foundation in backpacking and then stacking them, because it really has opened up a lot more opportunities to go on harder, more technical trips because I have the stacked skills and I have the stacked experiences. So for example, I mentioned the Royal Arch Loop earlier, but I was able to do a technical backpacking trip like the Royal Arch Loop because of my proficiency with rock climbing and not being, scared at heights or being more comfortable at heights and rappelling even, and combining those things with my backpacking skill sets. And likewise, when I go off to maybe do a more climbing specific kind of trip, I get to take my backpacking skills with me, navigation, confidence, safety planning, gear needs, all of those things to have a safe trip. And honestly, y'all, like one of the biggest things backpacking confidence has given me is that no matter what I'm doing, I always know I'm going to have my own back. Like there have been many times where I'm in a group and maybe I don't know them very well, and you realize they're not really paying attention to all the different paces or skill levels in the group, and people kind of start like doing their own things. And I just like never worry about being alone. Like I will get myself out of any situation. This is the self-trust that I've built in myself, and I built that through my skills in backpacking. So a like very specific example of that is like when I started mountain biking a few years ago, and I was like really not good, but I was like signing up for group rides, and I was always so nervous about being super slow and slowing others down and, those things. And I was nervous about that from that perspective, but I was never worried about getting left behind. Like, yes, I wanted to be with the group. That's the reason I signed up for a group, but I was never worried that like I was going to be unsafe because I had confidence in my own navigation skills. I always brought my own safety gear with me. I always knew no matter what, like if I went out for a ride with somebody and then somehow got separated from the group because I couldn't keep up, which was like a real fear for me because I was like, I'm bad at mountain biking. I've gotten a little bit better since then, but when I first started, I was very nervous about that. But I would, again, not nervous. I was like, you know what? I could always turn around and I'll just go back, because I know how to get myself out of a situation and to take care of myself. I would always have everything pre-planned. Maybe I would be a little bit embarrassed, but I would always be safe. And that has given me so much confidence to try new things in the outdoors, like even if I'm nervous about it, because I have that foundational confidence in my own skills. So truly, 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 when you become self-sufficient in backpacking, because it involves a lot of the core skills that you need for everything else, even with hiking, like don't take your hiking lightly. You need the core skill sets that you're going to use in backpacking too in your day hikes. And when you become self-sufficient and you build that strong foundational skill set, you create a lot more freedom for yourself. And I'll die on that hill all day, every day. I will keep saying the same things over and over, but like really investing in yourself to feel confident in the core foundational skill of backpacking is going to open up so many more doors for you. So, y'all, those are my 5 core reasons why backpacking might be the most important goal you set for yourself in 2026 or recommit to if you're already a backpacker. And this is exactly why every January, my team and I host something we call the Your Adventure Era Challenge. Because this work, the confidence, the identity work, community building, becoming self-sufficient, the aliveness, it deserves a really special place. And so our 2026 Your Adventure Era Challenge, it will kick off in January. So you can save the dates. We don't have a registration page yet open for it, but you can save the dates of January 12th through 16th on your calendar. And that is when we will host the challenge. It's virtual. It will be done online. I will be doing like daily live calls. But we're basically going to be going so much deeper into everything that we talked about on this episode today. So like building an adventure mindset, creating a real plan for your year, finding your adventure community, like how do you do that? Strengthening your adventure body and filling in your skill gaps. Those are the core areas we will be touching on in the challenge. So if something in this episode stirred something in you, make sure you are on my email list. You can join it by like signing up for any of our freebies that we have or anything that I've linked in the bio. And that will put you on our email list. But we will be officially opening up registration for that challenge around the end of December. So stay tuned for that. I will announce it when it's officially open, but it's not quite ready yet. Also, at the end of the challenge week, we will also be opening the doors to our Backpacking Badass program. So this is our signature program for women to teach them how to become safe, confident, and self-sufficient backpackers, and is really for anyone who's ready to turn this spark into real world skill and experience and really build that solid foundational skill set of backpacking so that you can go on in 2026 and have so many amazing adventures. So that will be opening up the week after our challenge. So we'll have our challenge on the 12th through 16th, and then the Backpacking Badass program enrollment will open January 19th through 23rd. And that will be our New Year's open enrollment for the Backpacking Badass program. All right. So that is it for today, my friends. And I will see you next week. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and we'll talk next time. Bye. Hey, I wanted to thank you real quick for tuning into the show and listening all the way to the end. If you love this episode and you want deeper support in becoming a safe, confident, and self-sufficient hiker and backpacker, then head over to shedreamsofalpine.com/waitlist to learn more about our Backpacking Badass coaching program, where I teach you absolutely everything you need to know to be self-reliant on the trails and stop waiting around on others for the adventure invite. So I'd love to help you more in your journey of stepping into your adventurous identity, and that program is the absolute best place for us to start working together. So again, that's shedreamsofalpine.com/waitlist, and you can learn all about it there. So that's it for today, folks. I hope you get to spend some time outside this week, and I'll be back very soon with a brand new episode. Bye.